Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Heather. I am a queer author of young adult, paranormal and dark fantasy, and today I just wanted to give you a quick run through of all the books I managed to complete over the month of April, while I was also doing a first draft of a novel. So it's a bit lower than it has been in the past, but some of them are big books, so I'm happy about that. So let's dive in, and the first one I have is book 4 in the Wayward children's series, which is In an Absent Dream by Seanean McGuire, and this follows a young girl called Lundy as she discovers her door to the goblin markets. And we meet Lundy in the first book, which is Every Heart a Doorway. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So Lundy is a very serious young girl who would rather study than dream, then became a respectable housewife and live up to the expectations of the world around her, as well as she should. When she finds a doorway to a world founded on logic and reason, riddles and lies, she thinks she's just found her paradise. Alas, everything costs at the goblin market, and when her time there is drawing to a close, she makes the kind of bargain that never plays out well. So I really enjoyed this. It has to be probably one of my top 2 of the Seanean McGuire books I've read, so highly recommend this. Another physical book I got to is Diana Gabaldon's Cross Stitch, which has now been rebranded as Outlander. Historical romance with fantasy aspects, I believe. It depends on how people categorize it. So basically this follows Claire Randall as she is in 1945 on her delayed honeymoon because of the wars, and then she ends up going through a stone circle and innocently ending up in the Highlands in the violent scrummage between Englishmen and the Scottish clans in 1743. I gave this 3 stars. I will say I prefer the TV series than the book. The main thing is Claire irks me so much in both, because for a very intelligent woman, she makes some very, very silly decisions. And it's that thing of, I understand that she wants to be a strong-minded, determined woman, but if a person says, don't go over there because it's violent and dangerous, I would be listening to the man with a knife that has just saved you from something. So, 3 stars for Outlander. I then got around to an ebook by Bethany Atazadeh, and I gave it 4 stars. That was The Stolen Kingdom, which is an Aladdin retelling, and it's the first book in her 4-book series that is now completed. This follows Caden and Ari as they go in search of a genie. One of them to get revenge on a prince that harmed their family, while the other one is looking to save a kingdom from a king that has what they call gifts, jinn gifts. I highly enjoyed it, recommend it. I gave it 4 stars. Final book I managed to complete in the month of April is the audiobook for Kerrie Maniscalco's Capturing the Devil, which is the final book in her Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I loved it. It's my first 5-star of the year. The only thing I would say is I kind of figured out who the murderer was quite early on, just from some choices that Kerrie Maniscalco made. But other than that, I enjoyed the development and completion of the characters in this. The atmosphere was spooky and enjoyable, and the plot really drove through. The decisions that were made in the book logically made sense, and I had a great time reading it. So they are the 4 books I managed to read in the month of April. Now I will go on to my balancing the books section, which is a little game I'm playing with myself about getting my TBR down to a reasonable number. But I'm using only the number of physical unread books in our house as the starting point. But I'm also starting to pay attention to all aspects of books that come in. So whether it's a physical book, ebook or audiobook, just because I have a habit of going on to Kindle or Apple and just hitting yes to free books. So I'm trying to stop that. At the end of last month's wrap up, I ended up with 240 books in the house of unread. So with this, I brought it down to 237 because I also hauled the Stolen Kingdom last month, which is great, but unfortunately I have gone back up with 2 books, so I'll let you know quickly what those books I'm hauling are. The first one, I went to a secondhand book sale with my mum and Wifey and Dragon and picked up Kristen Cashaw's Graceling, which I thought was a different book, but I still also had this book on my mind, which is in the world where people are born with exceptional gifts. They are known as grace, that are both feared and exploited. Casa carries the burden of a skill even she despises, called the grace of killing. Feared to the court and stunned by those of her own age, of darkness of her grace casts a heavy shadow over Casa's life, and yet she remains defiant. When the king of Le's father is kidnapped, she investigates and stumbles across a mystery. Who would want to kidnap an old man, and why? Who is a graced man whose fighting skills rivaled hers? The only thing Casa is sure of is that she no longer wants to kill. The intrigue around this kidnapping offers her a way out, but little does she realize that when she takes it on, there is something insidious and dark lurking in the mysteries. Something spreading from the shadowy figure of the one-eyed king. With elegance, adverse prose, and a cast of unforgettable characters, Kristen Cashaw creates a mesmerizing world, a death-defying adventure, and a heart-racing romance that will capture you and leave you wanting more. So that's the blurb on that one. So yes, tick, tick, tick. And then Lynette Noni came out with another book this year. So I had to pick it up because Wifey quite enjoys her, and I've had this on my radar since the beginning of 2020. Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, which is the first in a duology, and it is, the blurb is, the message was clear: don't let her die, and we are coming. Carver's breath caught as those final 3 words repeated in her mind. We are coming, we are coming, we are coming. No longer a vague promise of one day, but imminent. The family was coming. Finally, after waiting so long, they were coming for Kira, but also for Tilda. They were coming for the rebel queen. Is that. So they are the 2 books that have also come back up onto my shelves, but I'm still 1 book lower than I began the month with, at 239. So yay, I balanced my books and I had some really good readings. I would like to know what your best read of the month was. And what was your favourite book you picked up in terms of either hauling or you borrowed from the library, or the book that's next on your library waiting list. Until next time, I'd like to thank you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because it will really help my channel. Book related and writing videos twice a week. So let's use our voices to promote positive change in the world. Thank you and goodbye!